Welcome back to this course on SED, AWK, and GREP. Let's turn you into an expert. Let's do this one step at a time. So what we're going to do is right now I've got my Kali machine up and running. This is running in VirtualBox. If you haven't got this running, if you're not on a Kali box, get a Kali machine going. You need to get familiar with Kali Linux if you're going to work in cybersecurity, really in any aspect of cybersecurity. So get yourself a Kali Linux box running on VirtualBox, which is free. Kali Linux is free, so you can get started for free, which is great. So what I've got here on the desktop are my sample files right here. Okay. And let's do this. Let's open up a terminal. So here's terminal, boom. All right, so now I've got terminal going and I've got this right here. So I want to navigate to my desktop. And let's navigate into those sample files folder. So if I start typing SAM and press tab, it's gonna go in here. Now, if you're not familiar, this is you're brand new to the Linux terminal. You're going to know that tab will do an autocomplete. Linux is case sensitive, by the way, but when you're doing things, I'm going to cd back a directory. When I'm changing directory into the directory I want to work in, then I'm going to start typing that in. And even if I put a lowercase s for sample files and press tab, it still autofills it. Now you notice like it put these backslashes in here. What if we did this? It still allowed me to navigate to it. So instead of like using those backslashes and things when you're changing directories into a directory name that's got a space in it, you can put quotes around it. That works as well. Okay, so what I've got here is I'm in this directory with my sample files. If I do ls, that pulls up a list of these sample files. Now I've got my instructions over here on the left side. So if you see me looking back and forth, that's because I'm trying to maintain and keep pace with the content that we have that we want to get through. I'll let you read through some of the history of SED AWK and GREP on your own, the origin story, why the professionals love these tools. Actually, that's great. Professionals really do love these tools. They're really super powerful. They can do a lot of great things. You're going to figure that out as we go along. But you're going to need to know these tools if you're going to get into cybersecurity, if you're going to work with the command line, if you're going to be tearing apart log files and things like that. These can save you hours and hours and hours of time if you know how to use them correctly. So let's dive in here. SED AWK and GREP are actually already installed. We can do something called man, which is manual pages. So we do man, SED, there we go. It pulls up the manual page for SED. Likewise, we can do man, awk, and manual page there. By the way, I'm doing Control Z to quit out of those. And then man, grep, same thing. So these are all the command line options for SED, AWK, and GREP. I wonder if we could make this text a little bit bigger for you. All right, I made my text a little bit bigger. Hopefully that makes it easy to see. All right, and we can always do clear if we want to just clear back up. Okay, so I'm in my sample files directory, but I don't necessarily want to screw around with these sample files directly because I want to maintain consistency in the file structure so that it's not doesn't become polluted. And if you're working in any forensic sort of analysis, these are going to be hashed. You're never going to want to screw around with the original files. You don't want to taint them. You're going to want to make a backup directory that you're going to use for them just in case. So let me do a make dir. This is make a directory mkdir. Original files. We could do this manually right here by just right clicking and say create folder. But let's start getting a little bit more familiar with command line prompt as we go. This is going to level up your skills in all of this. So let's go make their original. original. And we see that it popped already, just automatically popped that folder in there. And let's do a move command, or actually, let's do a copy command. Um, Copy sample asterisk to original. Let's do it correctly. Use CP, which is copy. There we go. So now let's go see if they're there. Yep, we go into original and those files are there. Perfect. That's great. And now let's go, let's make a folder called training, or let's analysis. Let's make it analysis. Let's make an analysis folder. Let's copy those files again. Sample, asterisk, analysis, which the asterisk is just a wildcard that's saying everything that's sample and then something. Okay. So boom. So now if we go into our analysis directory, we should have all of those files in there as well. I just did ls again to pull that up, but we can also see it here by just double clicking on that folder and we can see that those analysis files are there. Perfect. So now this is where we're going to actually work with this. Okay. I like Pico. Pico is a great little text editor. So we can use that to look at these files. Instead, we could double click them every time to look at files, right? But Pico is a great way to look at files as well. So let's do Pico sample and then underscore. I'll start typing config and I'll press tab and see it automatically filled in that in for me. Perfect. Press enter. And now I'm in Pico. So it's one of many text editors. Nano is installed on here as well. Their Pico and Nano are very similar, but that will be a text editor you'll be able to use when you're working on files. On occasion, you want to create a file, create a text file. You want to just kind of work with them that way inside the text editor. That works. You can also up here in analysis, if we double click these, we'll actually open up a GUI editor that allows us to click around and everything. That works as well. So be comfortable, start getting comfortable with command line tools though. You're going to find that they're going to save you a lot of time and energy as you go through this. So let's do this. I'm inside the analysis directory and let's just go back. I'm going to go cd space dot dot. Let's go back a directory and let's also create one called playground. Make directory called playground. Boom. And we'll notice if we go back here, we also now have one called playground. And let's do one of the commands that is in the training document. So when you're looking on your hands-on commands, this is under the section hands-on commands. By the way, I'm going to copy this, copy. Let's come over here and paste clipboard, and there we go. So here we have this command. Echo is basically take this text and pipe it into something else or do something else with it. So that command there, you can literally copy and paste it. We could also type this thing out if we wanted to get full understanding of what everything that's going on here. So that's another way to do this. And let's just, we can do clear. By the way, clear doesn't change our directory. It keeps us in the same directory we're in. We're just, oh, and I'm still in the sample files directory. Oh, no, I'm in the right place. Actually, I want to be in playground. Let's go to playground. Clear should keep us in playground. It does. Okay. So let's type in that command, echo hello world /n is a new line. Welcome to SED AWK and GREP /n. This is a sample text file and you're cut off. Let's move that out of the way. And let's go right here, what I'm saying is I'm piping this in to this file. And let's go sample.txt. Press enter. And it created it. Let me show you something here that you're going to want to know. Let's do Pico sample.txt. Let's take a look. And look, all the new lines are there, right? It did a return carriage. All the new lines are there. Now, what happens if I run that command again? I can run that command again just by pressing the up arrow and then pressing, that was the Pico. Let me do the up arrow to get all the way back to the longer command. Press enter. And now let's go up again, back to the Pico and take a look. It's the same thing. So you'll notice, and I'm pressing Control X, by the way, to exit Pico or Pico. You know what? I don't even know how it's pronounced. Pico. I like Pico. Okay, so I've looked at that, and it's the same. Now let me show you something you're going to want to know, and that is if I go up here and I change this to 2 angle brackets. Basically, what I'm going to say is add to the existing file or add to this file if it doesn't exist, right? If it doesn't exist, create it. And if it does, just add to it. And now what happens when I go back and look at that file again? It did it twice. See, it added to the file. So what you need to know is that the 1 angle bracket, the 1 greater than symbol, is going to create a file if it doesn't exist and start it from scratch. And if you've got 2, it's going to add to it if it's already got information in it. All right. So that's a little trick you're going to want to need to know. So if I go back and do this again with the 1 and I go back and look at it again, it's just, again, the 1 set of text that got written out to that file. Okay. So we just wrote out some information in there. Let's do something with that information in this sample text file that we have. So let's go SED. So this should replace the hello with hi. So let's do that. And now it says hi world instead of hello world. Awesome. Did it change the original file? No. The original file, we didn't write it, we didn't pipe it back out into a file. So we could have done that. We could have done this sample.txt. Let's do sample2.txt. Sample2.txt and press enter. And now let's go look at sample2.txt. Pico sample2.txt, and we got hi world. So we wrote it out into a new file at the same time. So that's super convenient, right? Because we can write information to new files as we're working with them. Now, the danger of this, and you can't understate this. You can't overstate. Let me get that right. You can't overstate the danger of this. You do not, these command line tools are very powerful, but you can overwrite things in a heartbeat. It's so important to keep your original files are the original and that you don't screw them up. Because if you start working with the original files, editing the original files, you're going to get yourself into a bad place later where you want to get back to those and you don't have them anymore. Maybe this case is going to go to court and they're going to ask, have you modified any of these files? As soon as it's discovered that any of these files have been modified, the case is probably just going to get thrown out because you screwed up, you touched the original files. We're not going to get into hashing and protecting data and all of that right here, but you need to know that these are very powerful tools. I just created a file just like that. I just overwrote information in a file, or created a new file. It could accidentally overwrote information. That would have been bad. What would have happened if I did this? And now if I look at my original sample file, Whoa, blown away. Um, Boy, that was bad. That was an accident. Now what? Right? So you just have to be super vigilant and super careful about how you use these commands. Now, if I just wrote it again, so let me do it again, sample.txt. Let's see if, okay, phew. I just rewrote it, right? But the original file is now gone. So that's bad. You don't want to screw that up. Okay, now let's see what the output looks like for if we do awk. And what we're going to do here is a basic command that is going to give us the second word, um, the second word of each line. Okay, so what if we wanted the third word? What if we wanted the first word? There you go. So that's just a sample there. So now let's do grep. There we go. Grep just highlighted in red where it found the word SED and only showed us the line where that existed in this file. That's so cool because we could actually search a log file for just a particular IP address and we could spit that out. We'd only have the lines from the logs that contain that IP, right? So that would be very useful information. Okay, so do your own exercise here. Start playing around with these. Just figure out, walk through, modify the sample text file to include some more lines. Write a sed command to replace the word of your choice, so you can go back into. Let's say we want to replace a sample with something else. So let's use that sample. So let's go sample with nothing. This is this is a nothing text file. So instead of a sample text file, it's a nothing text file. But again, the original is still there. We didn't like spit that information back out into a new file. Let's see. I think that that's a great starting point. There's some expected results that you can get from at the bottom of this first training. I hope this helps you kind of get started. And then let's dig in some more in the next exercise, the next lesson. Let's learn more about SED AWK and GREP. I hope you all have a great day.